Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about the movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 203, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. It is now almost July. My name is Zachy Hassan. I'm here with Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going, Zachy?
It's good. I feel the need to say where and when we are chronologically, because honestly, it's for my own benefit. I have lost all sense of what the hell is happening beyond the four walls and the floor that I live in.
Clearly, our brains are psychically synced, because when you mentioned what time of year it was, I really did have a disorienting sort of reaction to that, thinking, wait, what? Like, May? Isn't it May? Like,
about a week
it's almost
ago,
the 4th of July.
That's the thing. I went out roughly a week ago, and I just had to run to the post office, and I see all these signs that talk about, use fireworks safely, and I had this moment of like, what, isn't it March? Like, what are you talking about? Talking about fireworks, and then you realize, oh yeah, no. I'm realizing without summer movies as like a way to mark time, I have no concept of anything.
Well, do you have that random person shooting off fireworks every night in your neighborhood?
I want to beat that person into a coma. I want to find them. I don't know where they are. But I despise them and their children and their parents.
It's so weird. And it's been happening, and obviously we're close to the July 4th, and that does tend to happen in the days approaching that holiday. However, I mean, this has been going on for weeks, and it blew my mind when I was on Instagram or something, and I saw some meme saying, like, so does everyone have that random, guy at night shooting off fireworks at 10 p.m.?
Wow.
And it made me laugh that this is, and then people below from many, many different states were all like, yes! Like, what is this?
At this point, I'm convinced it is just one person. It is a supervillain. It is the most annoying supervillain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what else is going on, man?
Well, I mean, I'm blessed that I am continuing to get to work during this time. But it's so funny being more confined at home. I'm not watching as many movies as normal, but I mentioned on a previous episode I've been binging Psych with my girlfriend, and it's a show I never probably would have thought to start, and it has just become this delightful little easygoing funny fluff that I look forward to after dinner every night now. So just a little shout out again to that. We're like in season 5 already.
Yeah, they have the second movie is like one of the selling points for the Peacock.
Right. Which when I saw that, I was like, oh no, not Peacock. But I've been really enjoying that. And then I haven't been playing a ton of games, but I had mentioned this Telltale game, Batman game that I played maybe a year ago, and so I bought the sequel. It's called Batman: The Enemy Within, and it's 5 chapters. Each chapter is about 2 hours, and it's really more of a choose your own adventure style game, and it's beautiful. I mean, it looks like almost like an Archer episode, actually. Excuse me, like a comic style thing, and so I finally started this up, and I really, just like the first game, I really, really enjoyed this. I mean, there's a little bit of action, but it's more, instead of you actually controlling, okay, punch him and kick this, it kind of tells you what to do, and you have to go through the motions with the buttons, but mostly it's narrative driven. And the decisions that you make, like people will ask you questions, and depending on how you treat them or react or respond, it completely alters the way that the entire rest of the game will play out. So when I was finished, I looked up, just some alternate choices to see what would happen, and characters that went one way in my game went an entirely different direction in other people's games and became your enemy, or they were your ally. And it was fascinating to see the different choices you can make. And without getting into it, because it was so fun having the whole thing unfold. It was a really, really good Joker game.
Nice.
Yeah, like I've never seen a story like this before, and I found myself like concerned over my choices. Like I knew how delicate a lot of these choices were and how it would affect people, and it's just a different type of game. You know, I had just gone through the latest Call of Duty game before this, where I was just in trucks shooting stuff. You know,
Yeah,
and that's fun in its own way. But this, it's like playing a movie. And it's a really satisfying one, too. So I just had to shout out this game. And I know it's like 2 years old now, so some people are like, yeah.
Gramps.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, I saw this great movie. It's called The Avengers. You know?
I played this great game called Pong. Have you seen it?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, if that sounds like a fun, sort of different type of approach to sitting down for 2 hours at your PlayStation, it is totally worth it. And it's, like I said, if you like Batman, it's a really great Joker story I've never encountered before that I really enjoyed being a part of and making the decisions within. So,
you know, speaking of Telltale games, I'm curious. Have you ever played the Back to the Future game?
You know, yes. Maybe a year or so ago, I bought it for the PlayStation.
Okay.
And I found it, and it is the same type of style of game, right?
Yes.
Where you're interacting with people and making decisions. But I found it a little more, the game was forcing me into sorts of things, or there was a lot of wandering around.
Sure.
And it would take a really long time. Like, it just felt like whatever was so successful with these Batman games, this was like the trial or something. And I know that's not the case, but it felt like they figured out how to make it feel more immediate and consequential. And I remember there was like a guy who's like, well, yeah, I won't do the thing unless you find me the thing. And I was like, okay. So like I had to wander around this whole town and be really slow and find a thing and then bring it back to the guy. And then the guy wasn't happy with it or something. And I was like, nah, this is, it bummed me out because I'd heard a lot of people say that it was a really fun Back to the Future sequel.
Yeah.
If there was ever going to be one, but I didn't have the patience for it. Did you?
I've not played it. I've watched my kids play some of it, so I can't. I mean, it seems fine from what I've seen. You know.
Yeah. Maybe at some point when I run out of stuff, I'll give it another shot.
Yeah. What else? Well, here's something, Brian, that I've watched recently. I revisited The Rock.
So did we.
Really?
Yeah, that's weird.
Oh, how funny.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so this was one of those ones that I'd been holding in reserve for watching with the kids, with my two older kids at some point. And I was like, you know, the two younger ones, or the younger ones were out of the house. I was like, all right, boys, this is it. And hot damn, this is a good movie.
I love that movie.
You know what's funny is I hadn't seen it in a while, right? But I when it came out, you know, and maybe the year or two after it came out, I would watch it all the time, and I listen to the soundtrack all the time. So really, I have a preternatural affinity for this movie. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I revisit it after it's been at least 10, 12 years. I'm like, hot damn, so good. And I posted on social media, I said, I think this is the last, like, truly great old school action movie from the 90s. And people jump in with, what about Con Air? What about Face Off? And I'm like, and I wanted to ask you, I was like, I think people remember those movies being better than they are.
I worked at a company where we would actually at lunch debate Con Air versus Face Off.
Really? Because those are both summer of 97.
Yeah. And it got divided into camps if you were Face Off or if you were Con Air. And I hadn't thought about that in a while. And I was never a Face Off guy. Like, I saw it probably, and then I maybe saw it once again, but it's not a movie I know super, super well somehow. And it's not because I don't like it, but I just never got an affinity for it. Like, I know a lot of people have, but I did see Con Air a couple times.
Sure.
That said, I don't know that I could speak to those movies because it's been a really, really long time. In my memory, they were great at the time, right?
Yeah,
They were very up there at that height of the Bruckheimer.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And I think both, like, I could watch either of those on a dime. Like, I have no problem. But I'm like, I think there's a difference to me, and maybe this is just entirely perceptual, between a movie like The Rock and those two, because I think The Rock works to me the way like Speed works or something, where it's just all the pieces just click. This is a virtually perfect action movie.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what I was appreciating rewatching it. And my girlfriend had never seen it, and so I appreciated that she was viewing it without the context of when it came out. But I think, because I think she enjoyed it well enough, but she, was like, it was fine, and maybe like kind of violent, and I think, so she didn't respond to it the same way that I did, but it made me appreciate that, it actually has a good plot, and it actually has a great villain, and it actually has two really compelling leads who are very different from one another, and each have their own motivations. They each have to learn to work together. It's just, it takes the time for all the things that a lot of movies don't.
Right.
And so on top of it being bombastic, which it absolutely is, it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. However, and it also has a compelling threat.
Yeah.
Like, that chemical is super interesting and unique, and the way that they have to contend with it, right? So, I mean, it goes that extra mile that I think it's easy to forget about, but it really didn't have to be that. And maybe movies after that would stop thinking so much about those things and just be like, well, let's just throw a bunch of funny people on an airplane and have a bunch of sequences, and then which, not to knock Con Air, but I don't feel like it's as, like you say, thought out and Swiss watchy.
Yeah.
And maybe that word's a little too lofty to throw at The Rock, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it takes the time for all the pieces.
I mean, I think, to me, you look at Ed Harris's character, and you appreciate the way that character is constructed. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they've really figured out his motivations. They've made him, you can't call him a villain, really.
Right.
He's a complicated antagonist, and that's the type of thing that I am able to appreciate, because it's like, well, they're doing something. They're doing something to shake and bake this a little bit, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's just one scene in the movie where it's Ed Harris playing opposite Sean Connery. And I'm like, I would watch 2 hours of these guys sitting in a diner.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, like scene from Heat.
Yeah, just give me 2 hours of that, and I'll pay $30 on VOD. Mm-hmm. I also like that this, at least to me, seems like this is like the first Nicolas Cage action movie.
Yeah,
Of that. I mean, I think he had done a few before this, but this like really cemented his like action movie phase.
Oh, he absolutely had a stretch after this. Yeah,
he did, and I think he's still in it, but people just have stopped going now.
Yeah, and he's perfectly Cage, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's the perfect amount.
Well, it's funny because you wonder how much of his character's affect is in the script and how much of it is just him.
Yeah,
because there's a thing throughout where he doesn't swear,
mm-hmm.
and he specifically goes out of his way to say like non-swear words,
right? Which is so hilarious and funny. Yeah.
And I kept thinking, I was like, was that a Nicolas Cage thing?
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. Yeah.
And then obviously,
and it perfectly makes him distinct apart from the other crazy, over the top macho people that he's surrounded by.
Yeah.
Like it's so perfect.
And of course, I mean, when I saw it, I had no idea that eventually I'd be living in the city where it takes place.
Right.
So there's an extra, that was the fun part, watching it with the kids. Like, oh yeah, look, there's that thing, and mm-hmm. and then I was remembering that you and we went to Alcatraz Island back in like 2008, was it?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, but yeah.
My oldest was just a little teeny tiny, and he was on my back like Yoda. So he had to have been like a year tops.
Oh wow. Yeah, I do remember a stroller being pushed, but I couldn't remember which.
Yeah, either you were in it or my kid was in it.
Yeah, well, we took turns.
Who took turns? Yeah, it would had to have been in '08, not because if had we gone in 2009, my second one would have been with us, and he definitely was not. So we took the ferry over. It was a lot of fun. We tried to take over the prison. That didn't go over well.
No one took us seriously.
No one took us seriously. You go up to some little kid, hey, little girl, can you go? And just like the police are dragging us away for talking to kids.
Right.
It didn't go over well at all. But it's really good. I next year is the 25th anniversary, and I would be all about revisiting that with you.
Yeah. I'd love to look into reading more about it, frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, too. Was that... No, Bad Boys was Michael Bay's first feature.
Yeah. But this was this was still Michael Bay with a modicum of restraint.
Yeah, but it still is absolutely a Michael Bay voice movie.
Oh, very
right?
much
It's
so.
just the one it respects the movie that it is, right? Like it's not like a showcase for Michael Bay. It's Michael Bay telling a great story that's from a great script.
Yeah.
And I think after that, it would just be, the reins were loosened and
Well, he went from The
borders
Rock
expanded.
to Armageddon.
Which I need to revisit. Is that a good movie?
No, it's not. But
It gets mocked a lot, but I do remember enjoying it at the time.
yeah, it's
Like, I mean, is it a good
It's-
bad movie? Is it? Like,
I
is that
would-
when he?
I would say good bad. Yeah, it's
Okay.
I mean, it's not the Magnificent Ambersons, but
But what is?
what is? I do remember that came out the summer of '98, and you had Deep Impact and
Yeah.
and Armageddon. And I remember Deep Impact. I fell asleep in the middle, like opening day. I conked out.
Right.
And I remember thinking, God, I hope Armageddon's better than this. And in fact, I remember Armageddon. It came out July 4th weekend, 1998, and that was the same weekend my brother got married. And so I went to the Mercado, sorry, the Cantera, the AMC Cantera. Watched Armageddon, came home, got my suitcase, and went to the airport for my brother's wedding, which is in Houston. So I have like that distinct memory. And then that week, we went to Houston, so we went to the Space Center, and they had like Armageddon toys in the gift shop.
Oh, funny.
Not funny.
I remember they had rock Blu-rays at Alcatraz.
At Alcatraz, that's right. I
Yeah.
do remember that. So as far as Armageddon, I think that may have been the last time I watched it.
Okay, I'm certain. Yeah, I haven't seen it
The whole way
since
through.
then.
So it's not a movie I felt compelled to revisit. But I did not give it a great review either, as I recall. But it's one of those, like, you got to kind of appreciate just the batshit craziness of it,
Yeah, it might have been the perfect movie in 1998.
Yeah.
Really corny, kind of MTV-ish.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that was, if not the biggest, one of the biggest hits of that year.
I'm sure it probably was.
But I also remember they screened it at Cannes,
Oh, really?
which is like, what are you doing? And apparently people like busted out laughing at the end of the movie.
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
Which like a spoiler alert for a 22-year-old movie, but Bruce Willis' character dies at the end.
Right.
And he gets up to give a, talk to the press, and he's like, so as you can see, it's a comedy, surly Bruce Willis was a thing even back then. So I don't know. I know you've seen the snippets online of Ben Affleck's commentary track.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Where you've got literally Ben Affleck saying that he was like, hey, because the premise of the movie, for those of you who don't know, it's an asteroid's coming to Earth, and so the U.S. military or NASA is like, we got to train these oil drillers to become astronauts so that they can go drill this nuclear device into the astronaut. And so Ben Affleck asks the sensible thing, which is, why don't you just train astronauts to drill?
Drill?
And basically they told him to shut up, but it's like, isn't that harder? like training to become an astronaut.
Right.
So my point, Brian, is that that's the movie. That's this movie. This is a movie where you get past the hump of, well, they had to train oil drillers to become astronauts. If you can buy that, you'll probably buy whatever,
Yeah. Then cue up the popcorn.
Otherwise, watch Deep Impact.
Right.
So there's that.
Nice.
It's a good movie. So a couple of things I've watched. By the way, I should mention, just for the sake of keeping, checking the box, I'm continuing my ER rewatch. I'm now up to the beginning of season 7. So
Wow. Okay, cool.
Last time we chatted, we were halfway through season 5.
Holy cow. That's great.
So we're working through roughly about a season a week.
Well, now's the time.
This is it. It's a good time, and I'm still enjoying it. So
I was going to say, is the quality's holding up?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is just a special magic about the first several seasons.
Yeah,
and then you settle into sort of just a familiarity.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, I want to visit, my friends in this place,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's and that sounds vaguely condescending. I don't mean it that way, but I mean anything that lasts, right? I mean, like The Simpsons. I think at this point it's on for this long because people are just like, oh, I want to revisit my friends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think ER by this point had really become like comfort food TV, and certainly for us right now,
right.
It is that where, like you're talking about with Psych, it's like the night kind of winds down, and I look forward to like my ER with the wife,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's been funny because like the kids are gradually getting pulled into it, so now they're trying to take ownership of it.
Oh, really?
And I'm like,
what
listen,
do you mean by that?
Like they want to be like, no, don't watch without us. I'm like, listen,
oh,
you go to bed. You're not going to take this away from me too. You've taken my joy and my money and any sense of accomplishment in my life. You've taken all that away.
So
Don't take my medical drama.
Right.
I'm just kidding. I love my kids.
It's like Dad always says, you've taken away my joy. You've taken away...
Speaking of taking joy away, Brian, I watched a new movie that's out on VOD right now.
Okay.
It is called Irresistible, which is just one of those titles where if you call your movie Irresistible, it better be irresistible.
You know what's funny, by the way? I saw this in our document, and I have seen this title come up multiple times over the past week because it's a new release. Every single time I forget what movie this is. That's an awful title. Or is it? I haven't seen it. Maybe
it is in that I'm straining to think of what the title has to do with the movie.
It feels like some sort of romantic comedy.
Right?
Yeah, Irresistible.
Yeah, I'm straining. Like, as I'm talking to you, I'm like, what does it? Like, do they explain it? Do they say it? Does somebody say it? Do they do the thing where somebody's like, you know what this is? It's irresistible. And you go, see, there's something. Mm-hmm, I'm struggling. Anyway, the movie is directed by Jon Stewart, written and directed by Jon Stewart. He of X Daily Show fame.
Right. And co-star of Big Daddy.
Yeah, that's right. Co-star of The Faculty, Jon Stewart. Remember that?
Yeah.
I remember back when we first met, you used to get that a lot. People said you resembled Jon Stewart.
Yeah, that's right. I've forgotten about that, actually, until you bring it up.
Yeah. So what do I think of the movie? Oh, it stars Steve Carell and Rose Byrne, and it is just not very good. It's a political satire / comedy about this small town in Wisconsin where there's like a city council meeting, and they want to cut off like health benefits for undocumented immigrants who live in this town. And so Chris Cooper, who plays like this like an army veteran, he comes to speak at this council meeting. He's like, these people have helped this town when we were dealt with the natural disasters, whatever. Now you're going to do this. What kind of people are you? This is, we're all in this together, and blah, blah, kind of a rousing speech, right? Mm-hmm. And so this speech goes viral, and Steve Carell, who plays a political consultant who worked on the Hillary Clinton campaign, he finds this, somebody shows him this speech, and he's like, I'm going to go to this town, and I'm going to tell this guy to run for mayor, and I'm going to be his like campaign manager. And then Rose Byrne, who plays like a Kellyanne Conway type, who worked on the Trump campaign, she gets wind of this, and she's like, I'm going to go to this town and back his opponent. And so suddenly this like town of like 5,000 people becomes this proxy for like all the political shit that's going on in the country, right?
Wait, why does either want to do either?
That is a good question. So,
like, to what benefit?
Yeah. So okay. So Carell
make the guy mayor, and why does she feel so?
So Carell is like, we need to, because he's a Democrat. So he's like, we need to rebrand what people think of when they hear the word Democrat. Mm-hmm. So you get this salt of the earth military veteran type.
Right. I see. Okay. I see. So it's sort of like a public scale sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so they go and a bunch of stuff happens. Who else is in the movie? Topher Grace is there. Natasha Lyonne. Mackenzie Davis from Terminator. She's in it. She plays Chris Cooper's daughter. Mm-hmm. Great cast. Mm-hmm. It's like the movie ends and there's like a bunch of stuff happens and there's like a twist at the end or whatever and it ends and I'm just like, what did this accomplish? Like the political satire is it's extremely broad. It's not particularly incisive. It's not saying anything that we. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, the media, like they just care about people fighting. Okay, well, yeah, that was, that was a brilliant insight in 2002, maybe.
Right.
So it's not saying anything. It's not earnest enough, and it's not biting enough. So what is it trying to be?
That's so interesting. Right?
Like, pick a lane, dude. And I actually reviewed this for IGN, and I made the mistake of delving into the comments, which is a new thing for me. I'm not used to having comments. Even at the Chronicle, like there's no comments. Mm-hmm. It's like I look under, there's like 150 comments, and most of them are coming after me like, this liberal, biased asshole piece of shit, whatever, talking about me, Yeah. Because what I'm saying in the thing is, I'm like, look, it's not like say something, make a point, I'm like, there's more to say than, oh, we should just like listen to people in small towns. Because I'm like, well, people in small towns are not like some panacea either. They're just people. Everyone's people. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like if Jon Stewart, if after 20 years hosting a Daily Show, however long he did that, and 5 years away, in the midst of the Trump era, his antidote is, hey, listen to people in some small town in Wisconsin. I feel like we're losing the script a little bit.
Right. Or at least there's a lot of thing, like you said, it can't just be distilled down to one.
Right.
It's so weird that it's so. What's the word? Like, I'm thinking of the word milky for some reason.
It is, yeah, but like banal,
Yeah. There you
go. Political consultants and media, bad. Small town farmers, good. And I'm like, I'm not saying small town farmers are bad. I'm not saying that. But I'm like, things are a little more complicated than that. That's my point.
You just imagine that coming from this person, you would get a little bit more. Who we sort of know where he's coming from. You think that he would take this opportunity then to get his hands dirty a bit and sort of dig in. Right.
So swing and a miss. I certainly didn't hate it, but I have no desire to ever revisit it again.
Mm-hmm. And this is his second film, right?
Yeah, and his first film I thought was quite good. It was called Rosewater.
Okay.
Which I interviewed him for that, in fact.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I believe we played some of that on this show.
Oh man, wow.
That was, you remember like back in 2014 he had taken a break from the Daily Show, and John Oliver took over during that time, and I had asked him, I was like, how much longer do you see yourself doing the Daily Show? And he said at the time he was like, we'll see. Like he was very coy, and then like a few months later he announces that he's retiring, and I was like, wow, well I'll be damned.
Well, maybe something you said.
I know, maybe.
Wouldn't you like to be sitting on your porch right now? Just
It's funny. The last two people he hired on the Daily Show, Hassan Minhaj and Trevor Noah.
Oh, interesting.
It's crazy when you look at his success ratio of hiring on that show. Because it feels like every single person he brought on has. Think about it. Carell preceded him, and Colbert preceded him, but. Samantha Bee, Rob Corddry, Rob Riggle, Michael Che, Josh Gad.
Wow, I didn't know about Michael Che.
Michael Che was on The Daily Show for less than a year when he got the SNL gig.
Interesting, huh?
Right, talk about a great track record for finding success and just He's like a mother bird, He just like taught him to fly, and then he's like, off you go,
Yeah. Speaking of Hassan Minhaj, I just saw that he did some piece on TurboTax.
Okay.
And just all the sort of sly little tricks that they have within their programming that I just bookmarked because I wanted to watch it later. So
it's worth remembering, mainly for my own benefit because I forget. But he hung out with us on the show and did just talked movies and shit on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think of that every time I see him.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
All right, I saw another movie, Brian.
Okay.
I saw My Spy.
My Spy.
So this is...
Oh, yes. No, the reason... Yes. Well, it's a better title than Irresistible.
Brian, can I tell you something? I thought you were having a stroke just now.
No. Well, I was... My mental Rolodex was flipping because... And I know why now. There was a big bus poster for this near my house. So I knew I had some sort of weird thing with it. But also, back when I worked at New Regency Productions, they were looking at a script called My Spy that was a Reese Witherspoon movie.
Interesting. Okay, well, this is not that.
Yeah, so the title makes me think of that other version.
Okay.
That's fine. Clearly, they like the title, so I wonder if they had to buy that title.
Anyway, I'm curious. Yeah. So the film. By the way, if you'd have asked me in January that you're gonna come June, you're gonna watch a movie, a political satire written and directed by Jon Stewart and starring Steve Carell. You're also gonna watch a movie with a big muscle-bound doofus who has to take care of kids.
Right.
Which one, which one would I have assumed I would like? Mm-hmm. Right?
Really?
Oh, yeah. I friggin' adored this movie. I thought it was
really
funny and sweet and a great vehicle for Dave Bautista. Mm-hmm. So this movie takes a kindergarten cop and puts a piece of tracing paper on top of it.
Sure. I mean, it's like every action star has to do this movie, whether it's the pacifier,
right? It's like check the box. You got to do this.
Tooth Fairy, right, with the Rock.
With the Rock, he did the game plan also.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan. It's almost like this is the gauntlet. You either get past it or you don't.
Right.
Hulk Hogan never made it past Mr. Nanny or whatever he was in.
Yeah, it's Suburban Commando. Well, I guess Mr. Nanny's more in
yeah. Santa with Muscles, I think that was another.
Santa with Muscles. I forgot. That's like a working title. You don't release that.
Right. So Dave Bautista plays a spy who he's trying to find. He works for the CIA. He's trying to find this like missing nuclear code, which this like an international terrorist gets away with, and that terrorist's brother's ex-wife lives in like Chicago with her kid, and the CIA thinks that this guy might reach out to them to try to get it or give it or something like that. And so Dave Bautista is sent to watch them, and he ends up making contact with them, and hilarity ensues. I mean, this again, it's not. It's what Dave Bautista as a spy of the kid. You can sort of. It's all an excuse to end up with him like ice skating and badly,
right. Having
stuff
a tea
like
party and
having a tea party, exactly. So this was a movie that I was actually, because it was supposed to come out like 3 months ago. It was supposed to come out in March, and I was supposed to watch it for the paper. And before Shelter in Place and all that happened, the screening was in downtown San Francisco, and I was feeling hinky about going to a movie theater. So I actually, I had emailed my editor. I was like, "Can I hold off on this?" Because the movie had gotten delayed by then. He's like, "Hey, I've figured it out." And then it got picked up by Amazon, whatever. I'm like, "Hey, perfect! I can just watch it on my computer, no problem." And I mean, this is the definition of low risk, low reward,
Sure.
This too is not the Magnificent Ambersons. However, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's just very charming. Dave Bautista, who I've liked in just about everything I've seen him in. This is a really nice showcase for him. He's very funny.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's directed by Peter Segal, who did The Naked Gun, 33 1/3.
Yeah, a lot of Adam Sandler stuff too, right?
Yeah. Get Smart. He also did with, speaking of Steve Carell. So I mean, it does well within its little box, right? It hangs a lampshade on itself. Like there's a scene where Dave Bautista's character is like fighting this guy, and there's like a plane that's going like this, and the rotors coming, and like you've got Kristen Shaw, who she's Louise. Like I can't.
I know,
right?
I know. For me too.
So she's like watching him via, like a computer hookup or whatever, and she's like, anyone else getting like a Raiders of the Lost Ark vibe out of like.
Right.
It's one of those things where they just hang a lamp. Like before you can get there, they get there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we know what we're doing. It's like that,
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's on Amazon Prime, and
it's on Prime, like available if you subscribe for free.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow. Straight from theaters into your free
not even
service.
in theaters. It never made it to theaters.
Yeah. Oh, it never made it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it got delayed and then just ultimately kicked to VOD.
Wow. Interesting.
But a surprisingly fun time. Not what I would have expected.
And for the whole family, I imagine.
Yeah. I haven't watched it with the kids yet, but I will. I think they'll enjoy it.
Cool. Nice. Good.
Dave Bautista surprises me because, you sort of say like, I mean, obviously Drax is the role he's best known for, and he's very good at that. But then, I mean, I'm sure you remember, like he had like a very small role in Blade Runner 2049, and he was quite good in that, and not a action role.
Not flashy.
Yeah.
It seems very wise, his decision making.
That exactly right. Like the decision making aspect, and he's speaking of Blade Runner, which is Denis Villeneuve, he's also going to be in Dune.
Oh, nice. Do the smaller role, but it was a good role.
Yeah,
I think he did really good in it. But then now you're tied to this director. He likes you. Puts in more of his sort of high quality films, and you get to kind of do all the above.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, I think a movie like this, I mean, you've seen it enough times that it really does live or die based on the charm of the actor, and that's why Mr. Nanny was such a catastrophe, because Hulk Hogan is not a particularly commanding presence outside of the wrestling ring, but you look at The Rock is charming in the game plan.
Right.
John Cena did one of these, and I haven't seen that movie, but I'm like, well, I can see that working because John Cena is a charming guy.
Right.
And I think Dave Bautista has a degree of charisma that it's fun. It's fun to see kind of this big goof, show like a Soft Side. It's why Kindergarten Cop worked as well. Kindergarten Cop is like patient zero of this one.
I was just gonna say, was that the first?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Arnold was the guy who cracked the code, and then everyone's been just kind of doing some variation of that.
Yeah.
And
in my memory, that was a fun movie.
And that was 30 years ago. Can you believe that?
No.
Yeah. I remember I was 10 when I saw that, and I enjoyed it. I haven't revisited it since. But yeah, if you've got like little kids, I suspect they'll like this too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's My Spy. Let's take a little break. We'll come back and talk some headlines, etc.
Sounds good.
And we are back, and I just wanted to take an opportunity to mark a few passings that have happened since the last time we talked, Brian. Right off the gate, this one hits a little closer to home than I would have expected, only because I'm watching his work currently. Ian Holm has passed away. He very lengthy career of stage and screen, obviously, but probably best known for playing Bilbo Baggins in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. That seems fair, right? That's probably, like, in terms of the mainstream.
I would imagine, yeah. I mean, obviously, we would think of Alien also.
Yeah, Alien.
You and I, and I'm sure a lot of our audience, but I think the first thing I thought of was Lord of the Rings. And
I mean, he was 88 years old. He's been suffering. He had been, suffering from an illness for the last like 10 years.
Ooh.
So he and I want to make sure I say in fact what he was suffering from. Parkinson's. He was dealing with PD, and in fact, by the time the Hobbit trilogy came along, he was already dealing with the illness.
Oh, really?
So the Lord of the Rings films were 2001 to 2003, and then the Hobbit films were about 10 years later. And apparently Peter Jackson went to him and said, we want to do this thing, and we want to have you in the film. And he was like, I can't because of this illness. And they actually found a way to work him in that involved Martin Freeman basically playing Bilbo on set, and they used digital trickery to insert Ian Holm into that. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, wow.
I didn't know that until just now. But yeah, the first time I saw him was in Alien. I was 4 or 5, whatever. way too young,
Yeah.
But so many great performances. He was also in a movie called Greystoke, which is a Tarzan film.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that.
I saw this was a nice tribute that Peter Jackson wrote for him. And he says, Ian was such a delightful, generous man, quiet but cheeky, with a lovely twinkle in his eye. And it says, back in early 2000, before we started shooting our Bilbo scenes for the Fellowship of the Ring, I was nervous about working with such an esteemed actor, but he immediately put me at ease. Standing in Bag End on the first day before cameras started rolling, he took me to one side and said that he would be trying different things in every take, but I shouldn't be alarmed. If, after 5 or 6 takes, he hadn't given me what I needed, then by all means I should give him specific direction. And that's exactly what we did. But incredibly, his varied line reads and performance were all quite wonderful. He rarely needed direction. He gave us an amazing range of choices to select from in the cutting room. We settled into a very enjoyable 4 weeks as we shot the first 30 minutes of Fellowship. And that's how you, like, somebody who's that good at their craft.
Yeah.
Sounds
like a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love this. He talks about how this is in the early part of Fellowship of the Ring, when he's telling, it's the big celebration. He's telling the kids the stories. You know what I'm talking about, right? In the beginning of the movie. So he says, one day we had Bilbo delivering an account of his early adventures to an audience of spellbound 3- and 4-year-olds who are sitting cross-legged at his feet in the party field. We started by filming Ian's performance telling the story, but we also needed angles on the children reacting to various dramatic moments. But young kids get bored very quickly, and Ian and I quickly realized that they couldn't hear the same story over and over again as we captured the various angles we needed. So I suggested that to keep the kids' attention, he should make the story a little different in each take, adding extra bits, making stuff up, so long as he gave us the essence of what was in the script. I told him not to worry and that I'd figure it out in the cutting room. However, we also needed the kids to stay in place while we quickly moved the cameras around from one angle to another. On a film set, quickly means 15 to 20 minutes. I mean, you know that, Brian. So while this is happening and no cameras were rolling, I whispered to Ian that he was going to have to keep them entertained. I helpfully suggested he could tell them other stories between shots, and that's exactly what he did. After a couple of hours, we shot everything we needed. As the kids were ushered off set and the crew moved on to the next sequence, Ian said that he'd never worked so hard in his life.
That's cool that he was game for it. I mean, you hear these stories about actors that won't even do the reverse angle,
right?
While they're working with other top tier professionals, and so I need you to entertain these children. Like, okay,
for hours on end,
Right.
I think that's just what comes from being a stage actor, right? That's what you do. You're used to that.
Right.
I do like that various of his co-stars all tweeted their condolences. Tom Skerritt said, "R.I.P. Sir Ian Holm, Captain Dallas, and the crew of the Nostromo salute you." To which I say, "He betrayed you, dude. What are you doing? You're dead because of him, man." So R.I.P. Ian Holm, 88 years old.
Yeah.
Which I think means that he was like our age when he was in Alien.
Wow.
There's a little perspective for you, Brian.
Yeah.
Another person passed away just this past week, Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, this was, I don't know, surprising.
Surprising. He was 80 years old. He had been suffering from cancer.
Yeah, which I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah, I hadn't heard it until he passed either. But his name had been sort of back in the ether a little bit because last week or 2 weeks ago was the 25th anniversary of Batman Forever. And so the conversation began anew about that film and its place in the Bat canon. And I was thinking, I was like, we've done commentaries on both of those Batman movies, and I was thinking back, I was like, I think we were kind to Joel Schumacher both times.
I think so too, actually. I mean, I was even going to say it's Batman and Robin in particular was just a punching bag for a really long time. But when we revisited it for our commentary, I just had this whole different perspective on it, where listeners are going to be sick of this by now. But when that is the latest Batman movie, you can't help but be like, oh man, really?
Right.
But when it just happens to be a Batman movie in a sea of other Batman movies of varying, flavors and, quality and whatnot, I kind of enjoy it, actually. It's like ridiculous and it's fun, and it's certainly, I don't think, what audiences were wanting in that moment as the Batman movie.
Right.
But now that it exists as this sort of novelty, the closest thing we're going to get to a modern Batman 66 style movie with just, Mr. Freeze wearing fuzzy slippers and, singing henchmen. It's kind of entertaining in its ridiculousness, and it's aiming to be ridiculous, right?
Yeah, and I think the conversation we had about Batman Forever, I mean, I think you and I both have a certain amount of affinity for that one. And so even as we poked fun at it, we were doing it from a place of affection. But I've said for many years that, I mean, this is somebody whose filmography extends further than merely the outer edges of the Batcave,
Absolutely, yeah.
And so it was with a little bit of frustration that I saw, the various obituaries and whatnot in media that were like, Joel Schumacher, director of Batman movies.
Yeah, right.
Like, I mean, he did a few things, he's done some legitimately good movies that deserve to be part of the conversation. I mean, I think Falling Down is terrific.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but when you think of that movie and then you think of any of the Batman films, I mean, apples and oranges, just stylistically
Right.
a whole other sort of thing. And that's what's so fascinating about his filmography, right? I mean, you go all the way back to St. Elmo's Fire,
Yeah.
right? Back in the 80s, or Lost Boys, movies that people still talk about from the 80s. Then you go into the 90s, and he had those, really sharp John Grisham films alone, like The Client and Time to Kill and all that. And then Phone Booth, which
I was
does feel
about to
like
say,
a 2000s movie.
I was about to mention Phone Booth, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of found a way to make movies in each decade that felt like they belonged in each decade, right? Like he wasn't repeating himself, and he just, I guess, was drawn to the things that interested him, and he did them really well.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, big picture, all your work to one side, all you really have is your reputation, the kind of person you are. And the one thing that you can say, and that's been pretty consistent, is that everyone who worked with him says he was just a really nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was a really good guy. I remember reading about how, people were fat shaming Alicia Silverstone for during Batman and Robin.
Mm-hmm.
And he got pissed at them about that. He got pissed at the media about that. Even Val Kilmer, with whom he had a very combative relationship, when in his autobiography, he had nothing but good things to say about Joel Schumacher. And that's, I mean, it always comes back to that at the end of it, like Batman movie, whatever movie, like once you're gone, all you have is, well, what kind of a person were you?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's by all accounts, he's he was a good guy. People enjoyed working with him. Maybe he made a movie or two you didn't like, but I think at the end of the day, he still did what mattered, which is just being a person.
Yeah, someone that I know who I worked with at New Regency, the production company I worked at, he shared a story because this person works in production, but he's also an actor.
Okay.
And he worked on Falling Down, because I believe that was a Regency movie. And he had the mugshot of Michael Douglas hanging in his office. And so he was on the Warner Brothers lot, and Joel Schumacher was making Batman and Robin, I believe, and walked past and just saw the mugshot from Falling Down. So he just poked his head in and was like, hey, I know that. And so then I guess they bonded for a little bit because they both worked on that film. And Schumacher was like, want to be in Batman? And he's like, yeah. And so my friend spent an afternoon down there being part of a motorcycle gang. I can't remember if that was Batman and Robin or Batman Forever, but he was one of the motorcycle gang guys. And I was like, what? I didn't even know that.
That's so random. Wow.
Isn't that enough? Yeah, I was like, what a nice story.
This is an excerpt from Val Kilmer's autobiography, which is called I'm Your Huckleberry. And specifically about working on Batman Forever. He says, this is Val Kilmer, he says, everyone's emotions were raw. Our director, Joel Schumacher, brought kindness to spare. He was charming to strangers and family members, and especially gracious with my mother, and for the most part sensitive on set. And, considering that relationship was famously combative, the fact that, and this is not Kilmer after the fact, the man is gone.
I was just going to say that.
I should say something kind. It's like, no, this is, this is in the record,
Yeah.
So, R.I.P. Joel Schumacher. He, say what you will about those Batman movies, the fact is they will be part of the conversation forever. Mm-hmm. Which is, so calling it Batman Forever turns out entirely appropriate.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Moving on. Speaking of Batman, Brian, there is more Batman news. Now, here, I'm talking about things we thought, like back in January, things that we thought would happen in 2020.
Yes.
Obviously, a global plague was not on the menu necessarily. However, more surprise, if you would have told me back in January, you come back in time, you're like, Zachy, it's Brian from June. I've come back in time to tell you two things. One, they will in fact release the Snyder Cut.
Right.
And also, by the way, Michael Keaton is coming back as Batman.
Right. Oh, and as the circle, Doctor Strange circle is closing, buy toilet paper.
I would have been like, well, I'll be damned, right?
I never. I mean, yeah. When I saw this, I thought it was fake. Like, you see these things in Facebook feeds, and it comes from some site called
Right.
Super Fun Comic News Today, .com. I thought that's what this was coming from when I first saw this.
Oh, totally. So this is interesting because over in the days leading up to this, certain people who I know who work in the industry were very coyly suggesting something was coming related to Michael Keaton.
Oh, interesting.
And these are people whose specific line of inquiry is Batman. So I was like, okay, And so when this dropped, I had it in the back of my mind that something was coming, but it didn't even occur to me that, oh yeah, like I thought like, oh, they're going to do maybe like an animated movie where he does the voice. That's what I thought. So, per the Hollywood Reporter, Michael Keaton will appear as both Bruce Wayne and Batman in the Ezra Miller starring Flash movie.
That just made me... It's like someone presented me with Bobo, my long-lost Bobo. Which is Mr. Burns' Rosebud, which is Charles Foster Kane's sled from when he was a boy.
Yes, that's...
That just gives me the warm fuzzies. I mean, not only that he'd be returning as Bruce Wayne, which would be enough and really exciting. Actually, no, it wouldn't be enough. I want more. But that he's going to be Batman? Get out of here. Seriously?
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this. We like all the Batmans to some degree, but I was 9 when that movie came out. I mean, that is my Batman movie. Just to think we'll get more of that Batman is just... I would have never imagined it.
So the interesting thing is that this is more than just a mere cameo. Mm-hmm. And apparently the deal is still unfolding. So my concern is that they may have gotten ahead of their skis and just effed everything up. But the film, which is being directed by Andy Muschietti, I should say.
Is that the guy who did It, right?
He did It. It.
Yes.
So it's being framed as a Flashpoint adaptation, and for you, Brian, I'm assuming you don't know, and maybe people listening don't know. There's this DC Comics storyline called Flashpoint that involves Barry Allen, the Flash, whose mother is, she was murdered when he was a child. So he wants to go back in time to prevent that from happening, but in so doing, he shatters the time stream. And the present day of the DC universe is just it's just gone to crap, right? So this is a storyline that's actually been adapted on the television, the Flash television series, and also they did an animated movie about 8 or 9 years ago doing something similar. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming the goal here is to do this as a way to carry the universe forward while accounting for casting changes and whatever. Right? Mm-hmm. So the plan is, apparently, this is not a cameo like, hey, remember me? I was Batman that one time. This is having Keaton as the Batman of record in this universe.
So not necessarily, it's not going to be some scene of Michael Keaton in his black turtleneck being like, hey.
Right.
Like, what are you doing here?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then one scene, and then we move on, and we're like, oh, well... I mean, it got my butt in the theater, but that's not, right. I was hoping for more. Yeah,
just a couple months ago, there was that Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline on the CW, and that's kind of what they did. Like, hey, look, it's Burt Ward for a second.
Right.
Hey, look, it's Tom Welling from Smallville. Hey, it's Alexander Knox. Mm-hmm. That is not the intent. Apparently they want Keaton in a multi-picture deal where he would essentially serve a mentor role in this universe.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so this isn't even a jumping off point into another Batman film, but they want him to be some sort of meaningful character in future other people's movies. Correct.
So in essence, you've got the Batman movies via The Batman with Robert Pattinson.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But those are separate from this universe. And so, since Ben Affleck has been very clear that I will die if I do more Batman, so thanks,
Right.
but no thanks.
Right.
They need a Batman, so who better than the guy who kind of got it all started?
Oh man, I gotta admit, I mean, I would love for him to make another Batman movie.
I mean, I'm kind of like, why not, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
something,
I don't know
yeah.
if they feel like that's stepping on the Pattinson thing, but
yeah, like I mean, just the idea that we can get Keaton back, and you're like, yeah, all that stuff, it still counts. Like it, the fact that the audience, I imagine, would be willing to accept it, right? And it shows how quickly this genre has matured. Because 8 years ago, it was like, if we put Thor and Iron Man in a movie, like, will people buy it?
I was literally about to bring this point up. Yeah, like 10 years ago, would a studio have even considered this as something that anyone would accept? And
Yeah.
You're right, because I do remember, I forgot with those Marvel films, thinking, well, but Thor has magic powers, and
Right.
Iron Man has, real world sort of know-how, and can those
Right.
coalesce? And yeah, which is just hilarious at this point.
So it's amazing how quickly things change. And a couple months, we're talking about the Crisis on Infinite Earths thing. We talked about this. They had a scene where Grant Gustin, who plays Flash on TV, meets Ezra Miller, who plays Flash in the movies, and it's just a less than a minute scene. And what does it do? It plants the idea of like, hey man, everything can count. Mm-hmm. And my understanding is that scene was put in there at the request of Jim Lee, who's like the guy at DC right now. And you have to imagine that was with the mind towards this. I mean, maybe not specifically Michael Keaton, but just this idea of like, let's allow for this possibility. Let's just plant a seed so that it's there. And if we're at a point where we can do this, I mean, sky's the limit, right? Like on the Marvel side, think about it. There's a film called Spider-Verse that's already established. There's all kinds of Spider-Mans out there. Right? So what's to stop them from doing a Tom Welling, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield thing?
That would be bonkers.
The fact, like, on the one hand, you're like, well, that sounds like a cool Photoshop fan art thing that somebody puts on Twitter. But now you're like, well, that could exist, and I'd be at least curious to see them pull it off.
I think that would be a massive event.
It would be, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's I think it's cool. That's all I'm saying.
Does this feel? I don't know if this is gonna make any sense, but when comics started and it was Superman and he can lift a car, and then just through the decades, there's different possibilities, and well, there can be two different versions of this origin story of this character, and what if they met? And all these things that happened over comics over the years. Now we're seeing that happen in the cinematic universe too.
Yeah.
Like it started with Batman. Like, what if Batman was taken seriously?
Right.
What if it was kind of brooding? And then now we're at a point where like, what if we just threw them all together? Because that'd be awesome. Feels like they're having their own evolution.
I mean,
right?
I think if you are Warner Brothers, it just stands to reason because they've been doing this with the cartoons, for example, right? Like, there was the Batman animated series, and that obviously had a very successful run. And then when that ended, in the early part of the 2000s, they did another Batman cartoon show called The Batman,
Right.
which was different. That was completely separate. It was his own thing, right? And that turned out pretty well. And that ends, and then they did another show called The Brave and the Bold. And that was Batman teaming up with various DC characters. That was its own thing. And that ended, and they did another one. And anyway, my point is, the question is like, well, why don't you just do, like, if you want to keep doing Batman cartoons, why don't you just do the animated series? And it's like, well, if you're Warner Brothers, why not diversify what people can expect from this brand? So, like, you can merchandise Batman the Animated Series, and they're still doing it. But now you can also merchandise the Batman, and that's another, you know? And all of these versions have their own relevance. Well, that's what they've been doing in the animated universe. Now they're just taking that over, carrying it over to live action. Right? And having it mutually coexist, I'm like, hey, why not? Right? I mean, I think if you say, oh, we want an older Batman mentor figure, well, then there's only one guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's only one guy who the audience, whether young or old, will be like, oh, Michael Keaton.
I mean, that's certainly the shoot for the moon, right? I mean, you could resort to having to cast someone and having us buy it, but I mean, if you could get that. Yeah,
I mean, I think in terms of the amount of residual goodwill the '89 movie has, it's like it just feels like a no-brainer, you know?
Yeah. I'm excited for that. When is? Do you know? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
When is the Flash? I mean, that's still being developed, or do they even have some sort of target date for that? Or
I mean, God, we have been talking about it since like forever, right?
Yeah. Maybe this is a way of keeping people, on the hook.
I think so. I think that's the intent is to basically, this is one of those things where now if it doesn't get made, people are going to be pissed.
Yeah, because
right?
I feel like the last story we talked about the Flash was Ezra Miller and someone, maybe even the studio, at odds over the tone.
That's correct.
Right. So
yeah, I mean, he's been signed for the role since what, like 2015? I want to say. 2014 maybe. And in that time, he's made, a bunch of cameos and like one featured appearance.
Right.
Because he was in Suicide Squad for a minute, not even. He was in Batman vs Superman for even less time than he was in Suicide Squad.
I forgot about Suicide Squad.
Yeah, most people have. And then Justice League. Oh, and then the Flash TV cameo. So I don't know. I'm always excited about these comic book movies, but I mean, come on, Michael Keaton coming back as Batman? Are you kidding me? And the fact that he's open to it, that's what's interesting to me. He doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, and the idea got me excited about another Batman film, because I was kind of like, cool, like, and if it doesn't work out, whatever, like, just make the Batman movie, like, right. As long as you got Keaton sort of interested. But then it would be so weird to see him in a Batman movie that isn't from Tim Burton, right?
Right.
Like, how much would they feel like they have to make it feel, at least squint your eyes and it feels like the same universe, or would they feel like they have to imitate that universe, or what? That would be its own sort of decisions.
Yeah, it's really, I was watching Batman Returns yesterday, and I was having that thought. I was like, this is so much its own thing. Like because watching that movie with the knowledge in the back of your mind that this version of Batman might be coming back, I'm like, how do you do that? What does that look like?
Right.
Yeah. Because that Gotham is so distinct from any other version of Gotham.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious. That's another movie, by the way, I'm really looking forward to talking through with you, because I don't think we've ever watched that together.
I just can't believe that. Yeah, absolutely.
And he's so good. I ask myself sometimes, I'm like, am I just nostalgic because I grew up with those movies? And that's a part of it, no doubt. But he's just a really good Batman. Yeah,
I think so.
So that's an exciting thing that's happening. Now, you were talking about Bobo, Brian.
Yes.
Right before a convoluted deep dive into Simpsons back history.
Right.
And I thought this was worth mentioning. The Simpsons, things are changing at The Simpsons, Brian.
Yeah, I saw this.
So there has been a big conversation over the last several weeks with everything going on and the question of racial equality and racial representation, etc., about whether white actors should give voice to characters of color in animation. And I feel like the floodgates really opened when Jenny Slate
Right.
left her role on, I think it was a Big Mouth?
Yes. The Netflix show, I think.
Yeah. So she plays she played a Vietnamese character.
Wait, that I believe is BoJack Horseman with Alison Brie.
So that's Alison Brie. So okay, I'm getting it confused. So who did Jenny Slate play?
I'm not very familiar with that show.
Well, goddamn.
But I know it was mixed race, a mixed race character.
Okay, she was half black, half white. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So she left, and then Kristen Bell,
right,
did a voice for another show,
the Central Park
on Central
Apple,
Park. So also half black, half white, or black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she was also mixed race.
Mm-hmm.
So then, it was like the leaves off a tree during autumn.
Yeah, I felt like I was getting these Hollywood Reporter pops on my phone. I was like, oh, wow. And then it was the Family Guy, Mike Henry. Cleveland.
Who, again, so Mike Henry, who is white, has played Cleveland like since the show started. And he's like, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm like, this might have been nice, like before the character starred on a show for 4 seasons, if you're going to do that.
Well, because this is, I guess, he's been doing it since 1999.
Isn't that crazy?
Right?
So more than 20
Of course,
years.
On Family Guy. But yeah, like you mentioned, he had his own series. The character had his own series that kicked off, had several seasons, and is wrapped up now.
Yeah. So by the time I heard about that, and I was like, I wonder what's going to happen with The Simpsons. They announced on The Simpsons that Dr. Hibbert and Carl,
mm-hmm.
who are voiced by Harry Shearer and Hank Azaria, will no longer be voiced by those actors.
Yeah.
And this on top of
coming
after the Apu thing.
This wave was the Apu thing, of course, with Hank Azaria stepping back from the Apu character.
So I am curious, my white friend. What do you? I'm like, Brian, stand on this trap door and tell me what you think.
I mean, honestly, it's gonna sound like the answer everyone sort of expects, but I really do mean this sincerely. I mean, I guess the way I can best say it is, I grew up with Dr. Hibbert, and he sounds the way that he sounds to me, and I grew up with Carl, and I didn't really even know who played who on The Simpsons growing up until a point when they were on the Actors Studio, right? And then you saw them do the voices, and I was like, oh, so she plays him, and it's weird seeing Bart, So I just love these characters. So frankly, I love Carl, and I love Dr. Hibbert, and I'm used to that, and I've never given it much consideration. So I do have to say that, yeah, these are characters that I love, and I love the interpretations of them we've gotten over the years. Lenny and Carl delight me to no end. However, I really do respect that people are trying to take a hard look at the way things have been. And, we talk about systemic change, right? There's a lot of surfacey change that people can do, and we can donate money, which is really nice, and we can speak out about things, but there's also a lot of things that are just woven into the fabric, right? That have gotten us to where we are now, and you might have to pull some threads that are going to make the quilt come apart. And so when that first happens, it's really disorienting, and you're like, well, but I'm used to this. I've known this for 30 some years. But if, people really want to do something that is going to change the way that it is, and for the better, and create more opportunities for people of certain races voicing characters of those very races, right? Making those opportunities for those actors that have not been there previously. Well, then I don't have any bad feelings about that. And I also do have to acknowledge that it's easy for me to say that, particularly with The Simpsons, because, for me, The Simpsons, I'm not going to clown on the 30 years, but for me, there's about 10, 11, 12 seasons that I am reverent toward. And those exist, right? And those aren't being touched. So it would be much different or more jarring for me, possibly, if we were in the middle of my beloved sort of run, and then knowing that things were going to change, right? So it's easy for me to be like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, I don't even watch that show anymore, But I really do mean that. I really do feel like there's going to be some seismic sort of ground shift, and we're going to, for people in their comfort zones. But if it gets us to a better place with what comes next, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I don't know.
Well, I was going to make a joke, but now I feel like a piece of shit. So I'll just say, yeah, what he said.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Know. Like these, and it's funny because I know that feels like the answer, like some sort of stock answer or whatever. But I really actually do believe that. Like I didn't feel betrayed by any of this, or I didn't feel like, oh, come on.
Sure.
I don't know. It's just, that was kind of my reaction to this. But I do have to concede that I am reacting to a show that I don't watch anymore, and
I think what you said specifically about this idea that, for an overall movement in the right direction, that means there's going to be a little, unsettling that of necessity has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really key, right? And so by that, if we boil it down to The Simpsons, that means watching that show and seeing a face with a voice that sounds slightly different coming out of it.
Yeah, and it's interesting you bring that up, because with Apu, and I was going to say, I know I actually believe this because that's how I felt when they mentioned the everything with Hank Azaria and Apu. I was like, no, that feels correct to me. That feels like the right and respectful decision. But at this point, it seemed like they were retiring the character for as much as we understood it. So yeah, I don't know if they're going to bring in new people to do Carl and Dr. Hibbert, and if they do, are they going to try to imitate the voice that came before them? And
right,
I don't know.
It's interesting because when we speak specifically of The Simpsons, right? Carl sounds like Carl. Dr. Hibbert sounds like Dr. Hibbert. Like we don't equate race with the voices, and I want to be very careful. I'm not saying like, oh, we don't hear color, or we don't see color. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where if we're saying that characters of color should be played on screen by actors of color, then doesn't it stand to reason that we extend that same courtesy to characters of color in animation? Like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about quote unquote sounding black. It's just about, well, let's give an actor this opportunity.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, that being said, what I've been seeing over the last several days is what feels to me a little bit of bending too far in the other direction, where you've got companies that have, episodes of shows that might potentially be viewed as quote unquote problematic, and so they're being pulled from circulation. So you've got, episodes of 30 Rock and The Office, etc., that are being pulled, right?
Which, by the way, as you're reading these lists and seeing all these articles continue to pop up, aren't you like shocked at how many episodes in recent history have done this?
Yeah,
I was like, seriously?
But it's interesting, right? But because I think, yes, you're right. However, there is another side of this worth looking at, which is, well, what is the specific context here?
Yes.
Because and what the reason I say this, because you were talking about the idea of systemic problems. It's like, well, it feels a little bit like studios are like, hey, we did this thing. Our hands are clean now. We've done our bit. We've done our bit, and now we can move on. And it's like, well, no, you're doing something like there's a Golden Girls episode that is about racism and prejudice, and the characters in the Golden Girls put on mud packs as like a facial care thing, and there's a line where somebody looks at them and is like, no, we're not black, or something like that. And the context of the episode makes clear, well, obviously that's not, they're not, you know what I mean? Like there's a conversation that's happening in this episode. It's not, they're not doing Amos and Andy,
Right. Yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like satire is a good thing.
Yes.
Right? Because it can shine a light on issues and help you to sort of laugh but understand an issue, and people learn, and you sometimes I see this is entirely unrelated, but when you have like these villains in these shows, they're like, yeah, but he says this thing that's offensive. I'm like, well, yeah, he's a bad guy.
Right.
And then he either gets brought to justice or he grows.
Right.
And so you definitely don't want to lose the opportunity for those sorts of stories or characters, right?
Like here's an example, Brian. This is an episode of Community that's just been pulled.
Right.
And it's the Dungeons and Dragons episode where Ken Jeong, says, "Oh, I'm the dark elf," and he's got a face that's completely black, and he's wearing like a white wig, and everyone's like, "What the hell, dude?" And Shirley, who's played by Yvette Nicole Brown, is like, "So are we just going to ignore that hate crime?"
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's funny, and obviously we're not supposed to like Chang, and the agency in that exchange is with Shirley.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not quote-unquote blackface. There's a joke there pointing out how we don't pay attention to sublimated racism. Like, there's a point here, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the idea that this is Sony, they're like, no, racist. Well, no, it's not.
Right.
And I want to be very clear about my role in this conversation, because I'm not black, so I don't want to act like my voice in this means anything big picture. But I feel comfortable saying some of this because at least anecdotally, you have black people on social media who are like, we're not asking for this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're like, stop police from killing us.
Right.
Fix these systemic issues. Give us opportunities. We don't care about what happened on a Golden Girls in the 1980s,
Right.
And this gets to something that I find troubling, just in a broad sense, but specifically when it comes to this, and it's performative wokeness.
Mm-hmm.
It's the sense of like, I need to, all these corporations that have been putting out statements. We support Black lives. Well, I'm glad that you do. I'm glad that you're saying
Tide
that.
Detergent supports.
Right. I'm like, number one, first of all, good.
Yeah.
And good for saying it. So not to denigrate that. But my next question is, now what?
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Sure.
What else are you doing? Because anybody can it costs you nothing to post a statement on Twitter.
Right.
What are you doing next? And that's when I see this. Oh, we're pulling this episode of this show, and we're pulling this. That's performative wokeness.
Right.
But we keep our hands clean while we get to keep doing essentially what we're doing.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's a tightrope sort of thing, and people are, and that's the other thing too, is multitudes of people are going to view those things multitudes of different way, and some people are just going to feel one way entirely about it. Other people will look at it and try to study and figure out what it's all about, and other people don't care, and so then it's, what do you do? Do you just throw the issue away? And
I mean, Brian, going back to the Community episode, it just occurred to me. I'm like, Yvette Nicole Brown is in that scene.
Right.
So if she would have said something, like if it really...
the actress. Yeah, not her character. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yes. She
would have been like, that's awful. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? So, obviously she was okay with it, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And just to further clarify, I'm not like... I'm going to die on this hill.
Right.
Community episode, season 2, episode 4, or whatever, forever. No, that's not what I'm saying. But we have to be willing to entertain a little bit of nuance in these kinds of conversations. Otherwise, we're not making things better.
Right. Possibly accidentally erasing lessons from the past.
Right. And that's what's worrisome to me because it's sort of like the conversation surrounding Gone with the Wind just a couple weeks ago. Right? Like, I don't think sticking it in a drawer forever is the solution, but I don't think pretending everything is peachy keen about it is the answer either. Like, we've got to be able to find a middle ground here where we acknowledge the problematic aspects of its history and its construction while also contextualizing that it depicts a specific period of time and was created during a specific period of time, and so all those conflicting concepts of the world are going to be sort of tied up in this work. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yep. Which it seems like, they did the best thing they could do, which is, this film exists. Obviously, it's a big part of Hollywood history, but let's talk about the context of this and how it was viewed through the lens back then, how it's viewed through the lens right now. And it's funny, for a minute, like, everyone thought it was disappearing, and it was so funny how it was sort of appearing at the top of all these purchase lists.
Yeah,
right?
It's very
Only to
funny.
return like a week later, like they always said it would.
It's very funny how suddenly everyone's a Gone with the Wind fan.
Right.
And I'm like, how many of y'all even seen Gone with the Wind? Come on.
Right.
I saw Gone with the Wind one time 30 years ago, and I liked it, but I'm fine, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, have you seen Gone with the Wind?
I have, yeah.
When's the last time you saw it?
Actually, within the past year.
All right.
Because we were going through the AFI 100.
Oh, that's right. Well, you're a statistical anomaly. You don't count.
Yes.
I mean, and I'm like, I think it's fine. I think the movie, like, I don't have a problem with the movie as it exists. I mean, I think there's political and social views that are problematic. Mm. But my point is, like, I'm not, like, if it were to disappear, I wouldn't mourn it, and I'm just like, whatever, you know. There's other movies, right?
Yeah.
But,
Excuse me.
But
I also saw this. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's all good.
Well, I was just gonna say I saw this. I don't have it in front of me. This was just in my own time earlier this week.
But real quick, Brian, was that the first time you've seen it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I doubt I ever would have queued it up, to be honest, if it hadn't been for the AFI list. But I just real quick wanted to bring up Karina Longworth, who hosts the You Must Remember This podcast.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The past season was entirely about songs of the South.
Really? Okay.
And I actually should probably have her actual tweet up. But basically paraphrasing, it was interesting where she was sort of saying it is important to remember that these things happened and to then cue up the appropriate context to apply to them, because if we just completely delete all of it, we may risk the accidentally fetishizing it. You know, or the possibility of it becoming a fetishized sort of thing for some people. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And I think that's through what she's been looking at with Songs of the South. I mean, erasing it completely, then it builds up this weird sort of mystique that maybe it isn't really worth.
Yeah, I mean, it's challenging, right? Because, like, when I went to film school, we learned about Birth of a Nation. And we watched it, and we grappled with the inherent contradiction of this being one of the most important films ever made, and also being one of the most abhorrent films ever made.
Right.
And that intersection, that nexus between those two ideas, is where a conversation starts. Mm-hmm. And I feel like increasingly, we just drain that kind of nuance out of discussions. Mm-hmm. And that's not helpful because you know, you know, what you just said about fetishization, I think that's important. But also just like, look, we have to reckon with some really troubling shit that's happened in this country's history. Mm-hmm. We have to.
Right.
You know, and it's, I don't know. You know, I don't know what the solution is. Obviously, this is a cultural moment we're living through right now where a lot of this stuff is really coming to the fore, and I think this is the moment to enact a lot of positive change. So I hope that momentum carries forward. Mm-hmm. But I feel like this stuff, Golden Girls and Community, that's actually a way of making sure that this momentum stalls out. Because people are going to be like, oh, this is a bunch of stupid shit. Right. You know, like people who might be inclined to agree with the movement are going to be like, well, I don't, like, why are we focusing on this? Mm-hmm. You know? I don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. And I can't profess any kind of authority on this subject because I'm not black. Mm-hmm. And I can't speak to the black experience except as an observer. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, I'm brown, but it's not the same thing. Mm-hmm. Right? So all of the stuff that's been going on lately, I mean, it's important. I've been talking about it with my students, a lot of kids, like just young black men who talk about when they were younger, mom or dad pulled them aside and talked to them about how to act if you encounter the police.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, is that a conversation you had with your parents in the context of this is how you don't end up dead?
Absolutely not.
Right? So all of like, I mean, again, that's not a conversation I ever had, to whatever extent I've had a conversation. My dad's like, look, if you get pulled over, just do what the cop says.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about being in a situation where even knowing you are doing everything you're being told, you could still end up dead.
Yep.
And how do we know? There's video evidence of this, right? Mm-hmm. Well, so this has been an ongoing conversation, and it needs to continue to happen. My concern is that sort of, doing stuff like this, all it's doing is stalling out that momentum, and that we haven't gotten there yet, but that would be upsetting to me if that happened.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a lot of stops and starts with these sorts of moments, but this feels like a real shift.
It does.
And so it will be very interesting to see what happens, like you say, after the tweets.
I mean, Roger Goodell gave us, the commissioner of the NFL gave a statement. He's like, if players want to kneel and protest, we're not going to stop them. Absolutely. They should do it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, well, geez, like Colin Kaepernick was doing that, and you guys, like, treated him like a pariah. And he was specifically protesting police violence.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were just like asleep at the wheel, so I don't want to denigrate the fact that the NFL came around.
Mm-hmm.
You got there eventually. That's good. But to me, the fact that they have gotten there says something bigger about just where we are at.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I mean, just since George Floyd, which is like a month and a half ago.
Wow.
Since then, we've heard of 2 or 3 others, similar stories.
Mm-hmm.
Some that happened before, some that happened, but they're coming out now, right? Mm-hmm. So the conversation is good, the momentum is good. Don't stall it out over stupid stuff. That would be my advice as an outsider.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, we went down a path I wasn't expecting.
No, but an important one. I think it is important.
Well, real quick, I know we're running out of time, but I feel like we at least owe our audience an update on new movie releases that are being delayed again, which at this point, can we just stop rescheduling and just say it's off the calendar, it'll come back whenever?
Yeah, when we know. Yeah. That's how I feel. I know there are shareholders, and all those things to consider. But I entirely agree with you. Like, we don't know. Come on.
So what's the list here, Brian?
Well, Tenet had a July 17th release date, which got pushed to July 31st.
You know what, Brian? Hold on, real quick. Before we stray too far, I did want to mention this. All these episodes are being pulled, and like Community, I already owned it digitally, so like I still have that episode, and 30 Rock I still own. So all these, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I want to make sure I still have access to this. So yesterday, out of an abundance of precaution, Brian, I was like, I should go ahead and purchase Soul Man, starring C. Thomas Howell pretending he's a black guy.
and you did.
I have not watched that movie since the late 80s.
I don't know if I've ever seen it. That's just one of those things where I think I saw a trailer at some point or it was referenced on some website, and I was like, this is real?
Yeah. So it is a real... Today it would be a YouTube parody.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know what it's about C. Thomas Howell, he of Outsiders fame.
Right.
He of Outsiders and one of the Left Behind movies fame.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
he's also one of the friends in E.T.
Oh, that's right, in E.T., which is like that was his first thing, yeah. So he's trying to get into college, and they have affirmative action. So he gets a tan basically and puts on like a wig and pretends he's a black guy. Mm-hmm. This is an actual movie that had a script and a budget and everything.
They came out while I was alive.
Well, all of us were alive. James Earl Jones is in this movie.
Right.
So maybe my previous comment about Yvette Nicole Brown holds no water whatsoever, because James Earl Jones read this script about a white boy in blackface and said, I want to appear in this movie.
Which makes me wonder, it's just insane. It's insane, first of all. Let me put that out there, that this movie exists. But also, what is the end lesson?
I could not tell you, because I do not remember.
Yeah.
So I have, like I said, I have not watched this movie in easily 30 plus years. But it occurred to me yesterday. I was like, one day the fancy may strike to revisit C. Thomas Howell playing a black guy in Soul Man, and I want to have that opportunity available to me.
It could become, if it ever gets pulled, which I can't actually, now that you say it, I can't believe it hasn't.
How has it not been?
Yeah, but it could be one of those movies that's spoken in whispers, like the what's that guy, Jerry Lewis?
Yeah, the day the
Holocaust
clown cried
movie or whatever, and you'll be like, oh,
check this out.
I have record of this existing.
So I went ahead and purchased Soul Man. That's the point. I don't know what I could watch it tomorrow or 20 years from now, but at least I have that option.
Right. Well, you have to let us know if you do. I'm very curious.
I almost feel like I need to now, right?
I almost feel like the only way you could go with that movie is to have it be, he thinks it's going to be one way, but then he realizes an experience other than his own. Like he learns to walk in another man's shoes. I would hope that's the lesson. I have no idea.
Well, here's what's going to happen. I think coming up this July 30th, in lieu of being in the theater watching Tenet, I'll be home watching Soul Man.
Well, you let us know.
But yeah, go on. Sorry, I interrupted your flow.
No. Well, so we had Tenet delayed July 17th, then it was pushed to July 31st, and before yesterday, it got pushed again to August 12th. And what's been interesting about this in particular is that Warner Brothers seems to want to do what we're saying, where it's like, let's just see, like, when it's the right time, because there's a lot of money that goes into marketing these things and making people aware that a movie's coming. I mean, there's a whole calendar, weeks worth of prep and money and everything put into this, right? So they obviously want to be as thoughtful about this as they can. So now that we're at August 12th, just yesterday, my girlfriend and I were going for a walk, and we saw posters for Tenet that still had the July 31st date on it.
Wow. Which
is obviously something Warner's wouldn't want, because that's confusing, right? So it's just, like you say, I mean, it just seems, okay, so August 12th, and then, look, it's going to get kicked again, let's be honest. So, but then, of course, once you do that, that sets off this shift, right? Where now Mulan has been pushed to 1 week after Tenet to August 21st. Bill and Ted was at August 14th. Now it's at August 28th. And so it just, I think everyone is just sort of, Tenet is the one person who's like going up to the front lines, with like their sword in their hand. And everyone's like, okay, let's just wait till they charge, and then we'll decide if we're going to go to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure next time we do an episode, we'll be revising these dates.
I mean, when we look at what's happening with the virus, we're now seeing spikes all over the country.
Right.
Where, Texas is shutting back down. In SoCal, where you are, they've reinstated shelter in place for like bars and things like that, right?
Yep.
So this is a moving target.
Yes.
And I'm just like, this is all in the course of this first wave. We're not even talking about a second wave yet. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That would, like, things would dull down and then they come back. So I'm just like, and this is easy for me to say because I don't have any money tied up in this, but I think studios have to seriously look at 2020 as a complete wash.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, and going back to the Tenet being everyone looking to Tenet. My girlfriend sent me this as we were recording, but AMC Theaters has just shifted the reopening date to July 30th.
Okay.
Due to the Tenet and Mulan delay. So I'm sure everybody would prefer. Well, actually, I can't say that 100% because I know AMC is having a lot of money trouble. So I'm certain they want to get back in business, but everyone seems to be looking to Tenet about what are we doing here?
Yeah. Man, what a mess. My gosh.
I know.
Jeez. Well, there you go. So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, and frankly, it's easy. There's two sides to this. I definitely, everyone's health and safety is the most important thing. But then I do sympathize with all of these people. I mean, these are livelihoods, right? They're not just our entertainment. I mean, these are livelihoods that are being, bandied about here and left in uncertainty. And I really sympathize with that. That's just crappy all around.
Yeah, it's a difficult question mark filled situation for everybody. Mm-hmm. But that wraps up this episode. One thing that does not have a question mark is that we'll be back soon. We'll be back. Knock on wood. Hopefully, I feel like me saying that might be like tempting the fates. Right. Yeah, we're actually gonna record in just a couple days a commentary track for Jaws. Yes. Obviously, that's appropriate because this year is the 45th anniversary of Jaws. Mm-hmm. And also it's appropriate because right now we are all Chief Brody. Yes. It feels like every local and federal government official is the mayor right now. Mm-hmm. We're just begging for sanity. And it's almost the 4th of July. Exactly, right? So, when you think about it, summer movie-going season is Alex Kintner and all this. Yes. Yeah. R.I.P. Alex Kintner. So we'll be back with that. And I know we've been talking about doing a RoboCop 2 commentary. That's coming. Brian saw it. Brian saw it for the first time. So, we'll get to hear your thoughts as we talk through it. Mm-hmm. But we couldn't miss the opportunity to celebrate the anniversary of Jaws. So we'll be back for that. Absolutely. Brian, anything you want to hype up? Puppy Dog Pals just had a new episode drop on Friday, so that's still alive and kicking, and that's on Disney, Disney Junior, and Disney Plus. So check it out. There we go. And if you've got any feedback for us, you can email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page and message us there, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Twitter at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. It's also my website, justadded.com. And as always, please go to iTunes and leave a review, leave a star rating. Every little bit helps. Like I said, we'll be back soon with our next regular show, and our next commentary track is Jaws, coming up soon. On behalf of my partner, Brian Hall, my name is Zachy Hassan. This has been Movie Film 203. We'll be back soon. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and